Hello students. Today I'm going to take you on a brief tour of the Georgia Milestones platform. Now what I'm looking at currently is actually a website that you can go to from our homepage, and it's just a place for you to sort of see what it's going to be like when you take the test. Now you do have a feature here called accommodations. Many of you will not have accommodations, but if you do, for example, if you know you're going to have the test read aloud to you, you would be able to select that accommodation before clicking on the test practice, and that accommodation would be turned on for you. Now for what we're doing today, I'm going to have no accommodations, but I am going to access the test practice. On a real test, you would be given a test ticket that has your login ID, your password, and in the testing session, your teacher would provide you an access code. This is going to be a word and some numbers that you will type in. It's just a way to make sure that nobody has access to the test ahead of time. For this practice session, though, you simply need to click Log In. So I'm going to point out a couple of features to you. The first thing that I want to show you is over here to the far right, you have a scroll bar. Okay, and if you roll down, you can see, for example, currently we are on number 1, question number 1. Okay, and looking through here, we can see that there are 9 questions. There's actually a total of 15. This would slide that bar over so you could see them. Okay, this double arrow will take you all the way back to the beginning. At the top of the test, you see we have this reading passage here. There is a secondary scroll bar that you need to pay attention to, and that's the one that's right here in the middle of your page. It's really important because this scroll bar is indicating to you that these paragraphs that you see here are not the entire reading passage. You'll need to drag down on the scroll bar so that you can see the rest of the information you have to read. On this particular graphic, they've given you the ability to magnify it so that you can see it a little bit bigger. So you would open that up, take a look at it, and close it. Okay. Now there are some tools that will be at the top of every page, and we're going to take a look at those really quick. So for example, let's say I read this passage and I knew that answer choice A and answer choice D could not be the right answer. I have this option up here of an option eliminator. If I click on that button one time, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's a slightly grayer button compared to these other 3. If I come over here to my answer choices, I now see that it's giving me an X. So I could select X for these 2 because I know they can't possibly be the right answer. So now it's really left me 2 choices. I could click on Wednesday, choice B, or click on choice C, Friday. Now, if I realize afterwards that I've made a terrible mistake and D is actually the right answer, I've got to come over here, turn off the option eliminator, pick up the eraser, erase that, and now I can select Saturday as my answer choice. Now, I'll have to come back over here and turn the eraser off. And now you can see the check mark. When the check mark is there, that means that is an answer you can select as your final choice. Another tool that's available to you is a highlighter. Now the highlighter highlights pretty much what you drag a box over. So if I wanted to highlight that part of the paragraph, I could. If I wanted to get rid of that, I would take the eraser and erase it. You also have this thing called a blocking ruler. Now the blocking ruler does just that. It puts a ruler-shaped gray square over the text. You can use this to make sure that you're only reading parts of it, if you want to kind of use it to help guide you as you're reading. It's really your choice. It's available to everyone. When you're done using it, you would simply click on the X. Now, when I'm ready to mark my correct answer, let's say I chose answer C. You would click on it, you get a nice blue check mark there, and I'm ready to navigate to the next question. So I would simply click on the Next button. Now in this particular one, you have to type in an answer. You have to tell it what the main idea of the passage is. It's the same passage. You can still scroll all the way to the bottom, but you're going to use a short response in here. So you would tell me what the main idea is, and I'm going to just type one up. You need to make a schedule to stay on time. Now, notice I just made a typing mistake. What I need you to do is to get all the way to the end of your work, just like you would a regular rough draft, and then go back and find your mistakes. So for example, in the word time, I have one too many M's, so now I can come back and correct that. When you finish with that sentence, you would click on Next and be taken to the next question. Now this is an important thing that I want to point out to you. So this next question, question number 3, it opens up with this writing task, okay? But then you notice next to it there are some multiple choice questions. Well, what they're trying to point out to you is they just want you to realize that at the end of this, you will be asked to answer a writing response to these questions. And so it's just telling you, before you begin planning and writing, you'll read 2 passages and answer questions about what you have read. As you read the passages, think about what details from the passages you might use in your informational or explanatory essay. These are the titles of the passages you will read: Northern Red Oak, Hardy Live Oak. Okay? Now, it says which question can be answered by the sentences from the Northern Red Oak. Well, to find your passages, you need to look up here. Passage number 1. I click on it. It's the Northern Red Oak. So I'm going to use my scroll bar. I'm going to read this whole answer. And now I'll be able to answer this question. I'm just going to select choice B. You would click on Next. Now, it's now asking me a question about the second passage. So I need to click on passage 2. I need to read that whole passage, get to the bottom, answer this multiple choice question, scroll down and select Next. Now we're at the point where it's asking us a question about both passages. I can still go back and click on these passages as many times as I need to. If I need to go back and reread it, I can do that. You will always have access to those passages. Select your answer choice and move on to the next question. Now let's say I wasn't 100% sure about question number 5. I wanted to come back and look at that later. I could select this Mark for Review button and it would highlight that square, just letting me know that I have one I want to go back and check. Now this is the first time that you're really having to start thinking about and typing in some answers. Now I'm going to leave this one blank on purpose, but the question says, describe how the information in the Northern Red Oak is similar to the information in the Hardy Live Oak. Use details from both passages to support your answer. Now remember, you can find the passages over here. They're not gone. You don't have to go back anywhere. They're still available to you. Now in question number 7, this is the first time that you've had a writing task that you need to work on. And this box is telling you that you have to scroll down to the draft area. Just as like if your teacher asks you to write a paragraph, they would expect you to start off with a rough draft first. Well, an online test is giving you that same option. They give you some important things to think about before you write. And after you read, they give you some important hints that you want to think about, including this last one, which is check your work for correct usage, grammar, spelling, capitalization, and punctuation. Now I'm still scrolling down on the same side. This area is not my final draft. This is my rough draft area. You might type notes there. You may even go ahead and start working on your actual paragraph answer. But anything you type here is not going to be graded by anybody. What you want to make sure of is that over here on the right-hand side, you put your answer in your final draft. So for example, if my whole paragraph is going to be about the live oak is a hardy tree, and there could be a whole bunch more. Now look, I made a typo. I just go back and fix it. But let's say I typed in a whole paragraph, and I thought after I had revised and edited that this was an excellent answer, and I just wanted to take that answer and move it over to my final draft. You could do that. You could use this tool to select everything that you've written. You could copy it, and now you could come over here, and I'm just clicking inside this box. Now you'll see that this paste icon is open, and I can paste the same work that I had here onto this page. I don't have to retype it. I can just copy and paste. Okay. Now I'm going to navigate ahead a little bit to some math questions just to kind of show you a sample. So this is a sample math question. Okay. This looks like a calculator, but it is not. This is actually how you would type in your answer. So if you thought the answer to this question was 32, you would click on the 3 and click on the 2. Now, you can also use your keyboard. So on my keyboard now, I'm going to type a 3 and a 2. Okay. This white space here is not doing anything for you. You can't do any scratch work on it, and there's nothing that you can do. You'll actually get 2 sheets of scratch paper from your teacher, so you don't worry about that. You'll be able to do all your work on your scratch paper and then just move your answers over. Now there's one tool that you don't see. Normally in this box, if there was the possibility of a fraction answer, there is a little box here that looks similar to a fraction. It would have a box over a fraction bar with another box for the denominator. You could click on that button to make your fractions. There will also be some sample science questions that you could answer. Okay, and I know I got that one wrong. Not really worried about that during this practice test. Now, we've gotten to the final question, and I'm going to pick my answer, and then I'm going to say finish test. You'll notice now that it's telling me I have 4 questions that are not answered, and I have 1 question that I need to go back that I marked for review. So if I select yes, I'm finished, that's it. I don't get any more chances. But I could select no, go back to the test. And using the numbers at the bottom, I can see, for example, I did not answer questions 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and I'm just going to use this one. I also skipped question 6. And yellow, or number 5, has been marked for review, so I wanted to go back and look at that question. So it's just giving you some information. When you think you have answered everything, you like your answers, you're totally done, you would click on Finish Test. Yes, I have finished. You would see this message, and all you would need to do then is click Continue. So that's navigating the Georgia Milestones website. Remember, you can find the practice online experience portal from our home page. And if you come in here and you want to look at any of the tools, it will remind you how you use them. So you simply click on this little slideshow, and it tells you how you can turn on the option eliminator and reminds you that you need to turn it off. There's also hints for using the highlighter and using the blocking ruler. I'm sure you're going to be very successful on this test. The important thing is just remember to scroll down when you have those paragraphs that you need to look at and to stay calm. Good luck, friends.